in GS2 paper, polity has the maximum weightage, but governance also is very important. Every year, close to 4 or 5 questions come from governance, and if you add questions from social justice, it even increases more. India was a police state or a colonial state then, but after independence, India became a welfare state using specific keywords and framework. For example, if you look at second ARC, they have given a very good explanation of corruption as in a form of equation such as monopoly plus discretion minus accountability, things like that. Hello everyone, my name is Pratik, and in today's very short video, we are going to discuss some of the steps to increase your marks or maximize your marks in governance. So before we discuss some of these strategies, let us take a look in terms of what are the common gaps as far as governance is concerned. So the first problem with regard to preparation of governance is that students tend to take governance as a subset of polity. So even though in GS2 paper, polity has the maximum weightage, but governance also is very important. Every year, close to 4 or 5 questions come from governance, and if you add questions from social justice, it even increases more. So governance in itself is a very important subject, it's an important topic, and we must prepare it holistically. The second preparation problem is that students do not prepare in a thematic manner. This means that they do not have adequate idea about the kind of themes that have come in the past, especially in the previous year questions. So this is essentially about lack of analysis of PYQs and identifying the important dimensions from it. Thirdly, very often you'll see that students are using generic points in answering governance questions, right? So again, here we need to make our answers more subject specific and utilize various points from the governance lexicon. In fact, it is also helpful to interlink it with other subjects, including ethics, right? So these are some of the problems that students face while they attempt governance as a subject in the exam. Now, what are the way forward, how to improve this? So first thing is that we need to have a theme-based preparation. For this, there has to be a good understanding of the syllabus. We need to deconstruct the syllabus. And then what we need to do is we need to identify the kind of questions that have come in the past from the same topic. So we'll discuss this in slight detail. That will give us an idea about how to do this mapping. The second part is using specific keywords and framework. For example, if you look at second ARC, they have given a very good explanation of corruption as in a form of equation such as monopoly plus discretion minus accountability, things like that. So you need to use such framework. You can also have certain framework like institutional mechanism, 3Cs, CVC, CBC, CIC, add criticism. So it really helps if you have certain framework ready before you even attempt the paper, right? Then it is also helpful to use current affairs in a very strategic manner. They're not going to ask you direct current affairs questions, right? So they are going to ask you questions which are theme-based, but you need to incorporate current affairs dimensions either in the form of introduction or in the form of body through examples or via conclusions. So here you can give certain recommendation of the important committees such as second ARC, Baswan committee, or any judgments, or you can give example from DPSPs, right? So again, all these things will help you improve your marks substantially as far as governance is concerned. So one thing that I would like to help you explain is how do you prepare one-page short notes before you can appear in the exam, because that is something which would really help you in further addressing or improving your answer writing. So for this purpose, you need to first identify the syllabus. So if you look at the syllabus of governance, there are 4 major topics. First, we have important aspects of governance. So here you have topics which are frequently asked, such as idea of good governance, and some of the initiatives which promote good governance. That could be, say, citizen charter, social audit, e-governance, and all the measures to promote transparency and accountability. So this is all about the important aspects of governance. We need to deconstruct it, and we need to align and check the kind of questions that have come in the past. Then the second topic that is given is role of civil services in democracy. Third is development process and development industry. So here you'll study about all the important institutions and their roles, including SHGs, NGOs, voluntary organizations, civil society organizations, right? So most of them will have the similar kind of contributions and challenges, but you also need to know some of the specific challenges that they face, right? Then you have government policies and interventions for development in various sectors. So as they have mentioned various sectors, so this can be health, education, skill development, and any other sector that you can think of, especially those which are in news, right? So here we have to analyze various government schemes, not just the provisions, but we also have to look into the various issues as per or in terms of the design and in terms of the implementation, and what can be done to improve their functioning. So this is broadly an idea about the syllabus. So now let me tell you how do we analyze a particular syllabus corresponding to its PYQs. And for argument's sake, for example's sake, I'm just taking this topic as a reference, role of civil services in democracy. So what I'll do is, I'll first identify all the questions that have come from this topic in UPSC. And then from that, what I'll do is, I'll identify or I'll pick out all the dimensions that I can think of. Once I have identified the dimensions, I will then prepare a very short notes that would help me revise before the examination. So if you take a look at the PYQs that have come from this topic, role of civil services in democracy, we have this question. The first question is about cadre-based civil service organization been the cause of slow changes in India, critically examine. So basically, it is about the characteristics of civil services, isn't it? And its impact. Second is, traditional bureaucratic structure and culture have hampered the process of socio-economic development in India. Again, we can see that this is a question on the characteristics only, and in a way you can also classify it as part of evolution of civil services in India. So earlier we had a traditional bureaucratic structure, now we have a modern or a democratic structure, right? So basically this is about characteristics first, and second part is evolution of civil services and then their impact. So if I have these dimensions prepared in my notes, I would be in a position to answer this question very effectively. Then initially civil services were designed to achieve the goals, okay? So goals of neutrality and effectiveness. So now I understand that UPSC is also asking questions on goals, right? Which seem to be lacking in the present context. Do you agree with the view that drastic reforms are required? So essentially this question is about, the theme that I can pick out from this is about reforms. So whenever I make notes, I should have reforms prepared. I should also have some of the goals prepared. And these are some of the values as well, values or characteristics, right? Values associated with civil services. So I need to study not just neutrality, but other values as well, right? Then institutional quality is a crucial driver of economic performance, suggest reforms. Again, if I have prepared reforms earlier, I would be in a position to attempt this question very effectively, isn't it? Then the doctrine of democratic governance makes it necessary that public perception of integrity and commitment Again, these integrity and commitment are nothing but values associated with civil services, right? So these are values, you can call them as foundational values of civil services, which is basically part of your GS paper 4, right? And they have tried to interlink paper 2 with GS paper 4. So this is basically about how the evolution of civil services has taken place in our country from the traditional bureaucratic mindset, and now it is now shifted to democratic mindset, right? So what exactly has happened in the meantime? What exactly is it going to, what is going to be the impact here, right? So this is something that we will do for all the topics associated for governance or any other theme for that matter. So from this, we are able to identify, we are able to pick out important themes, right? So once we have identified the themes, then we'll start making notes, okay? Because unless we prepare notes, thorough notes, short notes, it will not be possible for us to recall points very effectively. So what we are going to do, I'm going to show you the notes that I prepared from this. So what you should do is just take out the topic, just write down the name of the topic. So the topic is civil services, okay? And what exactly is written as part of GS2 syllabus, I'll write it here, role of civil services in democracy. So this is what the syllabus says. Now here, I'll write down all the PYQs, not the entire PYQ, but I'll just mention some of the keywords. For example, I have mentioned doctrine of democratic governance, institutional quality, crucial driver of economic performance, role of civil services, need for reforms, cadre-based CSO has been the cause of slow change, traditional bureaucratic structure and culture has led to hampered socioeconomic development. So I'll place all the PYQs here, and from here I will be able to identify the themes that I need to prepare. So what are the themes? First, I need to know what is civil services. If possible, I'll also take some quotes, right? Some of the important information, some data. Then I'll write down some of the constitutional provisions associated with civil services. Third is we'll talk about the characteristics. Okay, so what are the characteristics of the modern civil servants, right? And also we'll try to compare it with the traditional the civil services. Then we'll identify the various role played by civil services, including the economic role, policy making role, all these roles. If possible, and in fact this is also important, then I will take out some examples as well, because this will prevent me, or this will save me a crucial time during mains examination. Then I'll also write about relationship between civil services and democracy. So is it complementary, is it paradoxical, is it a mixture of both? So how do we look at civil services on one hand and democracy on the other hand, right? Then how it has evolved in India. What are the issues which are associated with civil services in India? Because we know that it is not performing the envisaged role, right? So there must be certain problems at various levels, at the recruitment level, at the training level, at other aspects, right? Then what are the reforms needed? Why do we need reforms, and what are the natures of reform? So once we prepare this part, then it is possible for us to attempt any question that could be asked from this civil services, right? On top of that, we'll also add some current affairs aspect. So what I'll do is I'll show you everything here in 2 pages, which I prepared. Okay, so I hope this is visible to everyone. So first, I will write about what is meant by civil services. So civil services are what? Permanent official in the executive wing of governance. Then I can write certain quotes, very famous quote by Sardar Patel. He called civil servants as the steel frame of India, right? Then I will also write some of the trivia, such as article April 21 as Civil Services Day. Then I have written 3 types of civil services as what is written in the NCRT, right? So we have all India services, we have central civil services, we have state civil services. Now in the comment, tell me which categories of services are considered as part of all India services. Fine. Then I'll write all the constitutional provisions. Constitutional provisions include Article 310, which talks about the appointment process. So here the appointment is taken by or done by the president at the union level and the governor at the state level. And here we'll study about doctrine of pleasure. So I have not explained everything. I've just written the key points, right? Article 311 is about removal and safeguards. Article 312 talks about All India services. Article 315 to 323 talks about Public Service Commission. Then I have also placed some of the legal provisions. Then these are the characteristics: anonymity, hierarchy, value neutrality, written communication, rationality, rules and regulations, effectiveness, cadre-based. So again, from this, UPSC has asked questions on neutrality, effectiveness, and cadre-based nature, okay? Then again, you need to know the meaning of this. You need to understand the significance of this. You need to also understand some of the challenges associated with this. But this, at the same time, at one place will help you absorb and consolidate your information, okay? Now, what are the role of civil services? For example, policy, advice, and formulation. Now, again, here I have taken some examples, some recent examples, such as IPS officer Arvind Kumar. He planned the Balakot strike. So this definitely shows how they are effective when it comes to policy formulation. Then I have taken the example of policy implementation. Swikrutu initiative was taken to integrate the transgender community into the mainstream, right? Rule of law, here you can give example of TN Session, who helped or who took a lot of proactive steps to improve the validity or the sanctity of elections in India. Then you can talk about public service delivery, innovations in governance, and also you can provide corresponding examples. So this is your role of civil services. Now this is also important, evolution, how it has evolved. So in the colonial era, what was the major function? It was majorly concerned with law and order, for commercial focus, to extract taxation. Because India was a police state or a colonial state then. But after independence, India became a welfare state, right? So the role of civil services also changed. It became focused on nation building, for the management of mixed economy, for implementation of the welfare programs. Then after 1991, again there was a major transformation. We'll see that now the function changed from regulator to facilitator. And especially after the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment, the civil servant was also supposed to play a very crucial role in empowering the local governments, right? And after 2014, with the advent of e-governance, again, the civil servant has changed, their nature has changed. Now they're supposed to be proactive, right? They're supposed to be not just work in secrecy, but they're supposed to be involved in transparency and accountability, right? So this is how the evolution of civil services has done or changed. Next, we need to also understand various issues with respect to civil services. So again, I have highlighted some of the issues such as systemic rigidities, resistance to change, transparency, accountability issues, political interference, lack of specialization, and lack of diversity. So all of them will be issues, right? Then what are the reforms required? So why do we need reforms? Because of certain issues. So this will be your why. Now, what are the nature of reforms? Reforms are required at the recruitment level, at the level of lateral entry, depoliticization, training, accountability, removal, all these things. And here you can take examples from various committees, from various Supreme Court judgment, from second ARC, from current affairs development. And then you can talk about here towards the end, you can also mention some of the evolving themes, right? And some of the interlinkages that you can do. So for example, it can be interlinked with foundational values of civil servants from paper 4. And here, this would also help you with doctrine of democratic governance, which was asked in this year. Then use of social media by civil servants, again, a matter which is currently ongoing. So this, you can just mention it here, right? So this is how you prepare 1 or 2 pager notes for all the topics, right? Now, this will definitely help you to revise, but how would you prepare it? One way is that you go directly to the original source and prepare your notes. That is a good approach, but it will take you a lot of time. The other approach is that you may take a look at the value-added material of governance that is provided by VisionIAS. Now, the good thing about this value-added material is that it is written in the same format, right? It is written in the same format whereby there is a focus on previous year questions. So everything which is mentioned or every content that is provided here is aligned with the previous year questions and the syllabus, right? So that is very much the requirement. Second, it will help you to revise the core content efficiently, because there are some examples, there are some theories which are very essential for understanding the key aspects of governance. So they have also been explained in very brief, such as concept of transparency, concept of information sharing, accountability, RTI, right? So you do need certain core part as well. So this is explained in a very brief and succinct manner. Then it provides certain value addition. What kind of value addition? From second ARC recommendations, Niti Aayog report, best practices, case studies, contemporary viewpoints. So this will definitely help you enrich your answers and ensure that your answers stand out from the rest of the students. Third, it covers high probability current affairs theme, especially because governance, like polity, is also very dynamic in nature, right? So we need to understand all these important areas from where questions can be asked, or how to interlink all those areas, right? So this is already done in this value added material, okay? Let me share you how it has covered certain topics. So this is, I have taken two topics here, side by side. And take a look at this approach for citizen charter and e-governance. Now, citizen charter is one of the most highly asked questions, frequently asked topic as far as mains is concerned. So here, when we study about citizen charter, what we will study is, what is citizen charter? What is the purpose of citizen charter? Challenges, and then various suggestions. So this is what we'll be studying as part of citizen charter. Now the content, the value addition material provided by VisionIAS covers this in just 2 pages, right? The first page basically talks about the basic aspects, the reason why it is used or what is the purpose behind it. Then here you'll see that they have provided challenges. And again, this is something that you can directly use in your answers, right? In the form of presentation aspects. So they have given various kinds of problems: design problems, implementation issues, citizen-related issues, grievance redressal, everything. So this is taken from second ARC, and some other current key developments have also been added here. Then with regard to key recommendations, participatory design, corresponding to this, customized implementation, accountability framework, and continuous improvement. So if you look at the previous year question that came from this, the Citizen Charter has been a landmark initiative in ensuring citizen-centric administration, but it is yet to reach its full potential, identify the factors hindering the realization of its promise, and suggest measures to overcome them. So if you go through this document, this will completely help you to understand the requirement and will give you very key specific points related to the question. Similarly, e-governance. Last year this question came where they asked about the models of governance. So the question was, e-governance is not just about the routine application of digital technology in service delivery process. It is as much about multifarious interaction. So it was about interactions and ensuring transparency and accountability. So again, purpose of e-governance. In this context, evaluate the role of interactive service model of e-governance. So if you look at any standard content, in terms of the models, you will generally get this kind of framework: government to government, government to citizen, government to corporate or business, things like that. And then you'll have certain examples. But here in this material, we have also picked out some of the ways in which UPSC is asking questions, especially in the basis of how the information is shared, right? So this is based on stakeholders, but if you look at the VisionIAS material, this is taken from that only. So it has explained all the important key models, right? For example, broadcasting model, which is basically top-down or one-way information dissemination model, then critical flow model, comparative analysis model, e-advocacy model, and the last one is your interactive service model. Which is basically bi-directional, where it is not just the government which is sending out information to the public at large, but it is also taking feedback from the people as well, from the citizens as well. So therefore, this becomes very essential, right? So again, here you will be able to understand the features in just 4-point lines: features, usefulness, examples, limitations. So this is all that is required for you to attempt this particular question, okay? Fine. So fine, let me just summarize what exactly you need to do well in this examination. First is that you need to know the syllabus very well. You need to deconstruct the syllabus. You need to identify the PYQs. Second, you need to add value, right? You need to add examples, recommendations of committees, and examples, recent examples, all these things, data, quotes, all these things. Then you need to update it with current affairs. And for this, I would suggest you can either use VisionIAS monthly current affairs magazine, or you can look for the Mains 365. So corresponding to each section of governance, you will find a lot of details, right? So here you can use this framework to add value to your notes. For answer writing also is very much required, but you cannot just start going and write answers, right? You need to have certain basic content prepared, specific content prepared. And for this, I would highly suggest you to use VisionIAS test series. And discuss your answers with our mentors, okay? So the mentors will help you understand the demand of the question, and how much, to what extent have you understood the demand of the questions, and are you able to write to the demand of the question, right? And to what extent are you able to add value in terms of content addition, in terms of current affairs, all these things, right? Then the mentors will also help you analyze what more can be done in terms of presentation, in terms of further value enrichment, right? So make sure that you prepare in a systemic manner, and if you do that, you will definitely add a lot of marks to your governance subject. With that, all the best. Thank you so much.